A few weeks ago, me and my family wanted to sit down and watch a movie, but like any good dysfunctional family, no one could decide on what to watch. A new movie just came out called The Electric State, and so I decided, let's watch that. I had seen it as directed by the Russo brothers, had a cast with names such as Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt, Ke Huy Quan, Giancarlo Esposito, and had a budget of $320 million. Knowing this, one would expect a movie of such caliber to be amazing, but somehow The Electric State felt the exact opposite. While the CGI was well done, the plot was generally weak, the writing could almost be AI generated, and the characters just felt dull and lifeless. This got me thinking about all the great movies I've seen that actually accomplish so much more, and with only a sliver of the budget. So here is that list. But first, I think it's important that we describe what it is that makes a movie good versus bad. Well, in my opinion, there are several things that make a movie good. To have a good movie, you need good story, you need good characters, you need good cinematography, sound design, editing. All of that contributes to a good movie. Your lighting, your color grading, all of that is important, but in my opinion, the most important thing above all is the story and the plot. The characters that you have weaving together to interact with one another, the story that you're communicating, the message that you are trying to drive home to your audience, that is without a doubt the most important thing, and that's what any movie is trying to accomplish. Knowing this, in my opinion, gives movies a whole new perspective because it doesn't just take a huge, massive budget to create an excellent movie. It just takes a good idea, a good director, just something good to drive home a good plot. So now, without further ado, I present amazing movies with super low budget. First on the list is Primer. Now, Primer is a fantastic movie. I watched it for the first time a couple months ago, and still I think about it and it just pops into my head. Here I have to preface a spoiler warning. If you want to watch this movie, which it is amazing, you definitely should, just know that for this YouTube video, I will be going in depth and I will be giving spoilers, so here it is. Here's your spoiler warning. So at the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to the two main characters, Abe and Aaron. Abe and Aaron are engineers who tinker with inventions in their garage and work together with a team, just creating different things, trying to get rich. They accidentally discover a way to reduce the weight of objects using an A to B repetition. They notice an anomaly where an object left in the box for a certain period of time emerges younger, which then leads them to realize that they have accidentally created a time machine. So Abe tests the machine first and travels back in time for a few hours. Aaron joins him later and they start a small-scale time loop to profit from stock trading. After building a bigger and more stable time machine, they discover that spending too long in the box will actually lead to more physical and mental side effects. Then later on, Aaron reveals that he's been jumping ahead and manipulating events to ensure their success, which creates a branching timeline. So this is the part where it really starts to get confusing. But Abe discovers that there is an earlier version of Aaron who also knows about the time travel. He realizes that the timeline is far more complicated than he initially thought. Abe creates a failsafe by drugging himself and Aaron, preventing them from using the time machine at a critical point in the timeline. Abe and Aaron confront each other about their ethics and consequences of the actions, and they decide to go their separate ways. Afterwards, Abe plans to travel back to the very beginning and prevent the experiment from ever happening. But Aaron decides to use the time machine to go elsewhere and start a new life, possibly intervening in other people's lives for his own benefit. The movie ends with the implication that the timeline has been altered and cannot be changed, and the consequences of their actions are uncertain. We also get this weird part where there's possibly now multiple versions of themselves because they're in multiple timelines, and yeah, it's just crazy stuff happening. To me, what makes this movie so amazing is just, again, the story. It's about these two guys that accidentally discover a time machine, and all sorts of crazy time stuff starts happening as they go forward in time, backward in time, their interactions with each other. And the movie is just so smart. You can definitely tell that the director, the writer, the main character actually is the main actor, director, and writer, which is insane. But you can just tell how much effort that he put into making this because there's just so many layers. You have to think about one thing, and then that reveals the next thing, which reveals the next thing. And I definitely had to watch a YouTube explain video after watching it because low key I was lost. But then after watching it, it was just so insane in the amount of stuff they were able to do. And this movie had a budget of $8,000. So for $8,000, you get this amazing color grading, really well edited movie that'll just mess with your mind, and it certainly will. So if you like sort of mind F movies or movies with twists or that'll make you have to think, then this movie is definitely for you. Another movie following Primer is the movie Coherence. Now, this movie, again, is amazing. The amount of stuff that they're able to accomplish in this movie is great. So to start, 8 friends gather for a dinner party on the night a comet is passing overhead. Strange occurrences begin, starting with the power going out. They discover a nearby house is the only one with power. They go to investigate it and find it very similar to their own house, but occupied with other people. Whenever they come back, a box appears on the table with photos of each of them in it, and they realize that something supernatural and strange is going on with this. They start exploring the neighborhood and discover multiple versions of their own street, each with houses that are slightly different. They try to identify the differences between the houses and the people inside to figure out which reality that they belong to. They come up with a system using dice to decide who goes to which house, hoping to find their original reality. As they move between realities, they encounter different versions of themselves, leading to confusion, paranoia, and even violence. M, the protagonist, decides that she wants to be in the reality where she has a successful acting career and a better relationship with her boyfriend. She knocks out her other self from another reality and takes her place, hoping to live a better life. As the night ends, another M arrives, implying the cycle of alternate realities and their struggle for better existence still continues. The film explores the idea of multiple universes and the choices people make when confronted with the possibility of a better life in another reality. The movie was made for $50,000, and that might sound like a lot compared to the $8,000 from Primer, but we have to keep in mind that currently movies in Hollywood average around $100 to $150 million. So $50,000, that's pretty low budget. I think the director paid for it himself. It was like a passion project, and interestingly enough, they actually used his house. He convinced his wife to move out for a week so that they could film this movie, and they did, which is really cool. Another really cool thing about that is this whole movie takes place in just their house or the street, and that's it. But what makes this movie so good is, again, like the other ones, the characters, the plot. This movie gets super intense, it's super in-depth, there's just so many layers to it, all the characters interacting with one another. You can feel the drama and the tension, and as you get the different clues, you're trying to piece it together, and it's just such a work of art. Number 3, we have the Blair Witch Project. Taking a step away from sort of the more psychological mind twister movies and moving into the genre of horror. Now, this is not my favorite movie, but technically it is a good movie, and the amount that they were able to accomplish this movie is really good. so that could just be a me thing. But either way, it's still a very impressive film, very influential film, and there's a lot to break down here. So to start, three student filmmakers, Heather, Mike, and Josh, venture into the Black Hills Forest to document the local Blair Witch legends. They start their hike, interviewing locals, and setting up camp deep into the forest. Along their way, they realize that they are lost when they can't find their way back to the campsite. Their map is missing. They encounter strange stick figures hanging from trees and small stacks of rocks which unnerve them. At night, they hear disturbing noises around their tent, which suggests that they are not alone. One morning, Josh goes missing, and Heather and Mike search for him, but they cannot find him. As they continue to search for him, their mental and physical states keep deteriorating, and they find a bundle of sticks containing pieces of Josh's clothing. Towards the end, they hear Josh's voice and follow it into an old abandoned house, where inside Mike is forced to stand in a corner, and Heather continues filming. The movie ends abruptly, and we don't know whether they were captured or possibly killed by the Blair Witch. Their fate is unknown. As a big fan of found footage movies and horror movies in general, the found footage in this movie is great, and that's what allowed them to shoot this movie on such a low budget. The Blair Witch Project was filmed for $60,000, so again, super small. They were able to accomplish this because it was just them filming on their little VHSs, and so, yeah, like that's all it was. It was just that. So of course it was going to be cheap. And they went out in the woods and they recorded, and the producers set them up. And what adds to the fear of this movie, The Blair Witch, is that the people in the movie, they actually didn't know a lot of what was happening. They were just led through the woods, and the producers were scaring them, and the actors didn't really know what was happening. So all the fear that you see on them, totally genuine. Like, it's all legit. And to me, that's frightening because I would hate that if I was an actor and you think you're just filming this little cutesy movie where you're going out in the woods, and then all of a sudden you got this bloody witch coming out at you and threatening to kill you, and you see your friend's clothes and you think he's for real dead. Like, that would be the end of that. Another really cool thing about this movie that is unrelated to the budget but still cool enough that I thought I should mention is that when it came out in 1999, the people, like the audience, they didn't know if it was real or fake. The producers, they set it up so that this movie was found footage and that it was legit found footage, so that the people that were watching it in the theaters, they didn't know if it was real or fake. And I actually talked to my dad, and he was saying that whenever he watched it when he was younger, he thought it was real, and that was a general consensus of everyone, that everyone just didn't know if it was real or fake, and it was super scary for the time, which I don't really think it's that scary now, but if you're into that sort of stuff, then definitely go watch The Blair Witch Project. Okay, so the final movie that I want to talk about for today is Pi, a movie directed by Darren Aronofsky back in 1998. It's crazy because this is actually his debut film, which, as we know now, he's gone on to direct so many good movies like Black Swan, Requiem for a Dream, Mother, The Whale, and it all started here with Pi. So Pi starts out with Maximilian Cohen, a brilliant but paranoid mathematician who believes that everything in nature can be understood through numbers. Max is working on a computer program to predict stock market fluctuations, and he gets a mysterious 216-digit number. Max becomes obsessed with finding patterns in the number, believing it to hold the key to understanding the universe. He suffers from intense headaches and hallucinations as he delves deeper into his work. A Wall Street firm becomes interested in Max's findings, believing his number can predict stock market movements. A group of Hasidic Jews also seek Max out, believing the number is a code that reveals the true name of God. Max learns about the torus, a mathematical shape, and its connection to his number. Towards the end, Max is pressured by both Wall Street and the Jews to reveal the number's meaning. Overwhelmed, Max drills into his own head to stop the pain and the obsession with the number. Max is seen in a park, seemingly at peace, able to enjoy simple things without the burden of his mathematical quest. So the film explores themes of obsession, the search for meaning, and potential dangers of knowledge. And what's really cool about this is, obviously it's in black and white, and you may be thinking, well, that was just a stylistic choice to go black and white, but no, it was actually a low budget choice. Well, I guess it could have also been a stylistic choice, but what's cool about black and white is you don't really have to worry about the lighting that much. You only have to worry about simply the lighting, not any of the colors. So whether you light with warm light or cold light or like how harsh it is, it only matters how they're lit. So in a way that makes it a lot easier when you're starting off to do black and white, and then it's also cheaper because you don't have to spend as much time, you don't have to invest in as much fancy equipment and all those things. If you've made it to the end of the video, I just want to say I really genuinely appreciate you watching. This video was really fun to make. Film is my hobby. I very much enjoy talking about it and watching movies and discussing things about cinema, so you can expect more videos from this if I feel like making any more, which I guess that remains to be seen. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a great and amazing day.